let's talk wall-mounted plate storage for your home gym.
Yes! That's awesome!
So this is our home gym. If you've watched enough of our videos before, you've probably seen it on occasion. And overall, we really have no complaints. Becky can actually press in the garage. I cannot. I have to go outside to press. But beyond that, really no complaints. However, in the world of champagne problems, one of them is that we've got our weight storage down low, or we had our weight storage down low for pretty much everything. So we've got our 25 kilo plates down low, and our 20 kilo, and our 15s and our 10s are all on one weight horn, one storage horn, and then our change plates, a number of our change plates were down low too, like our 5 kilo plates, our 2.5 kilo plates. And it's not the end of the world, but we had certainly talked a number of times about getting some storage on the wall, getting it kind of away from the area where we're walking and putting it up against the wall. Also, again, in the world of champagne problems, the weight storage horns that we were using actually come from, they're made by Rogue, but a whole bunch of companies make this basic same design. They came on a couple of our yokes that we use at the gym, and we don't use these plate storage horns. They're 2 inches in diameter. Now, 2-inch plate storage horns are stupid. All right, it's the same size as the diameter of the plate, so you got to be real picky when you're putting the plate on. Again, not that big of a problem, but there's so much better of a solution. Just use a storage horn that's smaller at all. So the size that we have now is about 1.25 inches, I think 1.5 inches in terms of the diameter, and it just makes the plate much easier to slide on. So we were looking for a couple things. One, we wanted to kind of get the plates up off of the ground. 2, we wanted to make sure that as much as possible we didn't have to use the 2-inch plate storage. Also, my apologies. It's fall, we're in the garage, it's Omaha, there's wind, there's leaves, so there's going to be some background noise, and you may occasionally hear Parker barking. So, let's get to the project here.
Now let's do this!
First, Becky and I had made a pipe table a while back that we were no longer using. It used 2 pieces of 2x6. So these 2x6s that you're now seeing right here. So they're of course, lovely, very nice and stained. I'm not saying you need to do this for your wall-mounted plate storage. This looks a little bit nicer than it absolutely has to, but we weren't using that table anymore, so we disassembled it. One of the advantages was we already had the pipe flanges that go with it. But the first step was to start anchoring, to start drilling holes to anchor the boards into the wall. The whole idea is that the board sits on the floor so that all the weight goes directly down into the floor. The job is not, it's not the wall's job to support the weight. It's the board's job to support the weight, and that force gets transferred directly through the board down into the floor. So it's not just like the plates are hanging on the concrete block wall, which is doable, but we wanted the force to go directly through the board and down into the floor. To anchor the boards into the wall, we used 4 screws per board. These are Tapcon screws, so they're designed to go into concrete. They were 1/4 inch by 3¼ inch, and if I get any of this stuff wrong, any of this information wrong, we'll have a materials list down below that will be more accurate. So trust the list below, don't necessarily trust what I'm saying right now. But basically on each board we put 2 screws up high and 2 screws down low, just trying to make sure that we weren't going to end up anchoring it directly into the seams of the block. So they didn't have to be right next to each other. They might have been staggered a little bit on a couple of these, but that was the basic idea. 2 screws up high, 2 screws down below. We pre-drilled them and then anchored them in with the Tapcon screws. One other thing that we did, although it's probably a little bit tough to see since you're looking at this as at an angle, but when we take off the plates, we didn't want to run into the bar or any of the plates that are on the bar. So in terms of the spacing of the boards, we weren't incredibly precise. We just made sure that the near side of the board, kind of the inside side of the board, was going to be at least outside by a little bit the edge of the barbell. Our next task was to figure out the spacing of the plates, and this actually isn't shown on video. But over here on the far side, the first thing that we did was we figured out where we wanted to place the 20 kilo plate, the blue plate. We did decide to keep using the 2-inch plate storage horn for the 25 kilo plates down low because it's a very convenient location for those plates to be when it comes time to deadlift. So yes, you still have to pick them up for squatting, of course, but they were in a pretty convenient location. We probably weren't going to have room on the wall for all of that anyway, since we also wanted the 5s on here. So we bit the bullet a little bit and kept the 25s down low. So what we did on the far side is we figured out where we wanted the 20 kilo plate to be. Since that was going to be the heaviest plate on the wall, we wanted it to be in the easiest place to grab. So kind of at about, chest, stomach height. So from there, we penciled that location in and put in the first one, and then we proceeded to figure out the spacing for the rest of them. And basically the idea is, and you'll see Becky doing this on the near side here, is you're going to figure out the spacing and pencil in the marks. You're going to pencil in where the holes where you're going to have to drill. You're going to have to pre-drill there as well. We did the spacing so that roughly there's about 2 inches between the bottom of one plate and the top of the next plate. For reference, the pipe that we're using here, this is 1-inch pipe. So that means it's 1 inch, the inner diameter of the pipe is 1 inch. The outside diameter is, I think it's somewhere around 1¼ inches. So again, it's significantly smaller than the actual diameter of the hole of the plate, which makes it nice and easy to put the plate on. So that also means we're using 1-inch pipe flanges as well. And in terms of the actual length of the pipe, we had Lowe's cut this, but they're about 5 inches long. They probably don't actually even need to be 5 inches long, because with the exception of the fact that we've got two 5-kilo plates up here, we really don't intend to put more than one plate on each of these. So we probably could have gone even a little bit shorter than the 5 inches. Each flange will take 4 lag screws. The lag screws are 1/4 inch in diameter, and they're each 1½ inches long. Once the pre-drilling is done, you can either hand tighten, you can either put the lag screws in by hand using a socket set, or you can also use a battery-powered driver as well. Just make sure that you don't strip the holes. Once you've got the flanges attached, most of the work is done. From there, it's simply a matter of taking the pieces of pipe and then threading them into the flanges. I would definitely recommend using a pipe wrench to finish tightening that up. You don't want any type of play here. You want to make sure that these pipes are securely attached to the flanges. As far as the edge of the pipe is concerned here, the part that's sticking out, we did our best to kind of file that down and deburr it as best as we could. That being said, we're still not real thrilled with our solution right now. We put it's still just kind of exposed metal sticking out. We do have a 1½-year-old walking around the gym, and another 6-month-old who's going to be at some point walking around the gym. So that's a little bit concerning to us. So in the meantime, this is a terrible solution, by the way, but we put some athletic tape on there just to make sure that it was covered at least a little bit. But that comes off pretty much right away once you start to slide plates on and off on a regular basis. So you can find some plastic or rubber plugs on Amazon, or probably in a number of other places. And eventually we'll get a couple of those plugs and we'll just put them on the edge there, or we'll stick them into the pipe right there, and that'll be a better solution. Overall, I'd say we're very happy with how it turned out. It's very handy to just be able to simply kind of walk over, take the plates off of the pipes, put them back on the pipes, at this level. The heaviest plate is in the middle. The plates get lighter as you go away from the middle, obviously, and it's nice to not have to bend over and put the plates down there, or because we have the 20s and the 15s and the 10s all on one horn, it's handy not have to pull a plate off to get at another plate. So if you've got a situation anything remotely like we had, or you've just got plates laying on the floor, this is, I'd strongly recommend going this route. It's great. Not only that, but we did it in one afternoon while watching a football game with a 1½-year-old walking around and a 6-month-old somewhat sleeping most of the time. So if we can do it, you can absolutely do it. We are not incredibly skilled. As always, we hope this helps you get stronger and live better.